So there's this child's bike that's in our subdivision. And one day they was just sitting there on a corner and everyone's asking this question, who bike is this? I'm asking the question, the neighbor's asking the question, the guy who takes out the trash asking the question. Anybody know who owned this bike? And we all had the same question, who bike is this? Monday would go by, Tuesday would go by, Thursday would go by, the following week would go by. It would be 3 to 4 weeks and the bike is still on the corner. In the rain, in the heat, and it's just like, who bike is this? And one day I was walking, taking my afternoon walk, and as I was walking closer, I still see this bike. And I said to myself, how about somebody just move the bike? How about someone just grab the bike and just take it to the dumpster? But it still was sitting there. And it just clicked in my head. How many of us in life, we have bikes that's in our mind, that's bikes that's in our situation, that's bikes that's in our circumstances. There are bikes that's in our relationships. There's things it's there, but it haven't been removed. So I want to give you 3 ways why we have to remove bikes. Very important. The first way that why we have to remove the bike is this, because we have to understand that we cannot assume that it's someone else's bike. Many times we assume that someone else is going to move it. We assume that someone's just going to come and grab the bike. We assume that it's someone else's bike and tomorrow they're going to get it. The sun may come out tomorrow and we think they're going to take it to the dumpster, but it took a whole month for that bike to be moved. What are the items or what are the bikes that's in your life that have not been moved because you assume? When you assume, that means people that assume don't ask questions. In order to identify who bike it is, in order to identify the bikes that's in our life, we have to ask questions. The second thing is we have to take ownership. We have to take ownership. I like that one. Why? Because we first have to understand and take ownership. If you don't like reading, just be honest. Say, hey, I take ownership. I'm a social media person. I don't like reading. Just be honest with yourself. You may say to yourself, no, I'm a fried chicken person. I like fried food. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Just be straightforward with yourself and say, I don't like healthy food. I don't like baked food. I like fried food. Take ownership. Take ownership of your finances. Take ownership and say, hey, I like going to the restaurants. I don't like eating at home. That's called ownership. When we take ownership, and it's just going back to the bike situation, someone had to take ownership after a month that I'm going to move it. I'm going to get this bike and I'm going to take it to the dumpster, even though it's been sitting there. I'm going to take ownership. I'm not going to allow others to own up to take the bike there. I'm going to take ownership. The third thing is so important, which is my most important level of moving the bikes in our life, is to evaluate. Is to evaluate. Why is that important? Just because you ignore it doesn't mean it has been removed. Let me say that again. Just because you ignore it, just because you close your eyes, doesn't mean things change or the situation has been removed. When we don't evaluate the bikes in our lives, or when we don't evaluate the situations of what's going on in our lives, then it stays there and it is still there. Closing your eyes doesn't change anything. We have to evaluate what type of bike is this. Evaluate what type of circumstance I'm dealing with. Evaluate what's going on in my life emotionally. Evaluate what's going into how I'm thinking, how I'm processing. When we evaluate, then it gives us a clear direction in how to move that bike. Man, I just want to leave that with you. I had that for a month now, all by just seeing a child's bike on a corner in our subdivision. It's been up for a whole month. Everybody complained. Everybody bickered. Everybody said to themselves, who bike is this? But no one took ownership to move it until after a month. What is the things in your life? What is the bikes in your life that you're complaining about, but you haven't evaluated? You haven't taken ownership, and you're still sitting there. Hey, it's important. It's real. You're stronger than you think. You're stronger than you think. Defeating the giants from within. You're stronger than you think. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. And don't even let yourself tell you anything different. You're stronger than you think. This is Emerson Mars. Hey, check out my new book, Defeating the Giants from Within. You're stronger than you think. You can get on Amazon, and also you can go to emersonjmars.com. It would definitely be inspirational and powerful for you. Hey, you're stronger than you think. Don't quit on yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's a difference between living versus existing. Just because you're existing doesn't mean you're living. You are called enough, you're skilled enough, you're powerful enough to be living now. Be great.